freedom of riding a motorbike, that's the same kind of freedom you feel when you fly an airplane.
So, hello, we're counting down to the mother of all Ardenne reunions. It's going to be happening in Atlanta between July 19 and 21. And in the hot seat today, we have none other than the vivacious, effervescent CAROLYN VINCENT, one of the bright lights of Ardenne. And when I say bright lights, I literally mean bright lights. I mean, if CAROLYN entered a room, you didn't have to ask where the center of the room was. Happy to have CAROLYN with us in the hot seat and for our conversation today. Well, hello, CAROLYN. Say hi to Ardenites everywhere.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Ardenites. Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
How have you been? You look fabulous.
Great. I have no complaints.
What's with the hair? I mean...
Oh, this is the color now.
That's a color now.
I go through a rainbow of colors.
Okay. It's a color of life.
Yes.
Well, CAROLYN, let's start talking. I mean, you're an Ardenite. Ardenne has meant so much for us in our own development.
Yes.
Our own growth, and I'm sure many memories, many lessons, many values that we learned at school have stayed with us through the years. What's your fondest memory of Ardenne? Let's start there.
The friendships that I formed, basically. The friendships that I formed. I mean, all my closest friends today are still the closest friends I formed back in the 80s, 78 to 83 when I attended Ardenne.
And you maintain contact with all of them?
Yes, and distance was never an issue. I mean, my best friend Heather, who's now deceased, she moved to London, and though I wasn't working when she moved, we still spoke on the phone every week. Still found a way to communicate. Magali moved away shortly after as well to Florida, and we still maintained a close link, and nothing's changed.
I remember Magali very well.
Yes, nothing's changed.
Tell me, CAROLYN, before Ardenne, I have this picture. I can share screen on this feature.
Now I'm going to have to look at use my glasses.
I'm going to share this picture. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Are you seeing it?
Yes.
Tell us about that picture.
Yeah, that's me kneeling. I did ballet while growing up at Holy Childhood Prep was where I attended elementary school. And I did ballet while there. That was an extracurricular activity, of course. And there I was a butterfly in that dance. So I guess that's where the dancing bug bit me. Yeah. So it gave me a little grace, even though I'm kind of rough on the edges still, but it did give me a little grace.
That's you in the tutus there. And
yeah.
How old were you then?
That was probably about 7 years old.
That would have been.
But I did it until I attended Ardenne. I did it right up to the end of first form.
Were you involved in the arts in Ardenne, or was it sports? I remember you for.
You know what? At Ardenne, I just participated in sports
everything?
Day and cheerleading and key club. Yes, but I was an on-the-side cheerleader for everything.
Oh yes, I remember. And your house was Cohen, was it?
Yes, sir.
I seem to remember you as a Mills girl, but
Oh, go ahead.
So when you look back and entering Ardenne, when you entered Ardenne that first day, can you go back? What was it like? How did it impact?
Okay, first of all, when my sister Faith attended Ardenne prior to me, when she passed, for Ardenne, first of all, my parents didn't even know of Ardenne. and her name was not found under the schools she had chosen. And when she finally found it, I guess everybody was kind of disappointed. That never meant anything to me at that point. But my mother, the following week, went and met Miss Gale, and she was totally impressed with Miss Gale and Ardenne High School. And she said, absolutely, you're going here. There is no choice. So she went, and when I took the scholarship 3 years later, Ardenne was my first and second choice.
Wow.
Though there was Holy Childhood High and St. Andrew, I did not want to attend an all-girls school. I didn't think that would have been so much fun. And I'm happy I did not. So
Tell us why. I can't let you off the hook with that one.
I passed the Ardenne, and it was like it was so exciting the first day of school. The first day of school, I remember, as in 1-4, Miss Roper was my form teacher, and my first friend was this guy by the name of Devon Harris. I don't know where he is now. And
Devon Harris? You mean Pele?
No. Pele was ahead of me. Another Devon.
Okay.
Devon became a prison guard, but I haven't seen him since, and I don't know where he is. And then Sandra Henry was my next friend. She sat behind me, and Brian Johnson and Heather Murray. Those were the 4 people who stood out most. They were immediately around me.
And you can remember all of those names and all. I can't remember behind me and who sat beside.
Yeah, because they became your friends. They were right there. They were the closest people to you. Yeah, of course.
How did that gift of friendship that you discovered so early at Ardenne help you through, the rigors of high school, big school?
You know what? To me, I mean, when I went to Ardenne, it was like a big family. School was like fun for me. Everybody just came together. I mean, whether it was lunchtime or PE or it was just a fun time. Everybody was on a level ground. It was you're at school, so it wasn't a big deal. And friendships were easy. You just talk, hang out. Yeah,
so
it was like
talk about,
I cannot talk a lot, so it was easy.
You were like the leader, right? In conversation.
Yeah, and I was always told to, be quiet by teachers because I was always talking out of place. Always. You always have something to say about something. I still do.
Did you ever get detentions or demerits or?
Not really, no. But I remember getting in trouble kind of in 4th form with Delia McDaniel. Mr. Roberts caught us red-handed. We had some pins for a few days, maybe for that school week, and we're sticking children on their bottoms, boys and girls with the pins. And Mr. Roberts caught Delia and I. And we got to go to his office for a little while. And of course, along that passageway there, we were in 4th form, so we're big. Mr. Roberts' office, everybody can see you. And everybody's like, I'm in trouble, you're standing there waiting on Mr. Roberts to come back to tell you what your punishment is. But Mr. Roberts he was so reasonable, so fair. He asked you why you were doing it and, tell you why you shouldn't do it. But you were reprimanded in a really nice way. But we weren't punished. He just, told us that he doesn't think it was a good idea. Okay. And perhaps we should stop. But we never really stopped. We just never made him catch us again.
But you told it down, no doubt, a little bit. So talk us through the years at Ardenne. I mean, it wasn't just all fun and friendship. You had to study. You had to.
No, yes. There were some, school. We had a good time. 1st form was like learning high school. It was like, forming some friendships and stuff, some bonds. Second form was critical for us because that year was election. For a long time, for a few
the 1980 elections.
1980, our class was empty. I mean, very few of us came to classes, as you know how violent it was then.
Yes.
So that was really a very memorable part of second form for me. Third form, quite a few people, new kids came in to our class. So, and this was the last year you got to do all 14 subjects. I think we did 14, anywhere between 14 and 16 subjects, I think.
Crazy.
So this was the year you were choosing subjects, and then guys came in, mostly guys, no girls came in, because most of them came in to play sports or came in from another school, like Tarzan, Wayne Morris, Howard Reed, and a couple other guys. They came in, and so that was a big deal, because these were like new guys in the school. Who are these? And you know, and then you became friends with them too, because they were your classes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they were easy friendships. You know, really easy friendships. Fourth form.
About this friend that we have on the screen now.
That was Heather. That was second form, Heather Murray.
I remember her. Pretty girl.
And her sister was she was a clerk at school. She also at Andrea Murray. She also attended Ardenne, but she worked in the office by then. But Heather attended Ardenne 78 to 83, 84 as well, because like a lot of us, like a group of us that joined, we had in third form, we had this group with us, Magali Heather, Jackie Mary, Janet Glaze, Pansy Cooper, and myself, and Magali Bernard.
Are some of them there?
Yes, we had a group, and Delia McDaniel. We had a group that's Janet, Delia, and Magali.
This is Janet on the left, right?
Called Jalik Korea, Janet Glaze, Jalik Korea. And that group, we had 2 or 3 huge parties at my house. So we had a group, and it was like our little posse, and we had parties at our house. I guess we kind of joined the group to have parties. I don't know, that's what we had. But whatever it was good. You know, summer we'd go to the beach, hang out, stuff like that. So we're always together.
Were you in the arts or in the sciences?
Sciences.
So what did you do at school?
I did biophysics, chemistry. I never did literature throughout, but and economics, of course. Economics, that's it. Never did add math or them kind of things. Accounting, nah. So we went through that, and all 5 of us repeated 5th form. That was
You repeated 5th form. That had a lot of parties.
Yes, thanks to our chemistry teacher, Mrs. What's her name again? Do you remember the chemistry teacher? Short, Miss Oh God, she was our form teacher in 5th form, and she was so good. She was the one who really, asked Mr. Banks to have us repeat 5th form. Magali, Delia, myself, Heather, which was really, she really stood for us and believed in us.
And I have the evidence here that you did graduate. So. One of those people.
And you know what, Mark, I really don't remember any, because we were in alphabetical order. I don't remember the names.
There's that guy at the back.
I think his name was Haldane, but I'm not. I know.
Haldane. Is it Haldane Worrell?
Yes, that's his name. Exactly.
Where is he? Yes.
I don't know where he is. I don't know where any of those people are.
I remember him quite well, actually.
I'm sure a lot of people, when you put that picture up tomorrow, they'll recognize everybody. Believe me. But I don't remember, because none of those around me were in my class. And a couple were on evening shift, well, blue and white shift, because we too were, our group, the 78 group, were an experimental group. We had the early morning shift. We had the triple shift. I don't know if you remember that triple shift.
Yes, I came on in 79, so I was one.
That triple shift thing was a pain.
It was crazy. Yes.
It was, and then we had evening shift, then we had a very late evening shift. So we're kind of, I think for 4 years we were at an experiment. Our group were, it was like an experiment shift system. So we tried out quite a bit. So that part wasn't fun, but you know, it was good getting to school later. That was the only nice part. I was also in fourth form, I think it was fourth form, that I became a founding member of the Key Club.
Right.
Key Club. And for the 2 years I was there as in Key Club, 2 or 3 years, as the director of fundraising. And that sign at Ardenne, we put it up, the concrete sign out front.
Yes. I remember when Key Club started. Was that Mr. Fred Hudson, businessman who helped them?
Yes.
What impact did Key Club have on you?
Service, the importance of service. My father was a Kiwanian. Okay. So it was only natural, like, for me to join Key Club and just to give service. And you know, some of the things we did with Kiwanis, with our New Kingston Kiwanis partners, was going into some children's homes, and that like left that made a huge impact on me. Just going in and, you know, seeing these kids in children's home and how much they wanted just a hug, just a hug, nothing more, and they wouldn't let you go. So that was a big deal. That was a big deal for me, you know. Hence, there are lots of things I still do because of Key Club. Did you
wanted to do before you left Ardenne?
Anything I wanted to before
Career-wise.
Yeah, I decided to on aviation in maybe second or third form. And the reason I decided, the reason I decided on aviation against my parents' will, against my parents' wishes, was a friend of mine who lived close by. His dad owned Wings Jamaica, which was then the only flying school in the entire Caribbean, at Tinson Pen. And we were friends. He'd walk by, he'd stop by every day after classes and stuff, and we'd talk and stuff. And he's like, yeah man, come man, you can join it. And in third form, I wrote to Air Jamaica and told them that I'm interested in becoming a pilot. And they replied, and they sent the requirements. And one of the requirements was a height requirement of 5'5".
And you are?
5'3". I'm like 5'5", but I mean, I wasn't discouraged. I just like whatever, yeah. But years later, you know, shortly after, I went on what you call a FAM flight, which is you can do it. Yeah, you can do that at any age because you're not actually a flying pilot. It's a half-an-hour flight where they put you in the left seat, so that's the actual captain's seat. But you fly with an instructor, and he just takes you around the city, you know, what a takeoff and landing is like, and just the perspective from there up. So it wasn't any big deal. But, you know, you were like, wow, totally impressed. It's like, I don't know if you've ever ridden a bike, a motorbike.
Yeah. Yes.
The freedom of riding a motorbike, that's the same kind of freedom you feel when you fly an airplane.
It's amazing. From third form, you knew what you wanted to do.
Yes. So you know, you kept going at it. When I graduated and left, so you know, I told my parents and stuff, and they were like, "No, foolishness. You can't join that. First of all, you're too short. You're a woman. You won't ever get there." And they said, you know how parents are. Everybody, there's nobody around me that said yes, other than Chrissy, my friend, who said, yeah, you know, good. And then when I spoke to Mr. Barnett, who owns Wings, Mr. Barnett is really he was first a mechanical engineer before he became a pilot. And his wife, who was an American, his first wife, she owns the #1 commercial pilot's license in Jamaica. Okay. And that was my inspiration to just move forward. You know, she'll always have #1. And
this was at Wings Jamaica?
Yes, that was Wings Jamaica. So that was working on my commercial license. And Marlene Smith, who is now at Spirit, a captain at Spirit, she was at Air Jamaica also until it folded, you know. She's at Spirit now. She was number four female pilot, right? Yeah, but she was hired in our group, but we're hired by numbers, so we have a seniority.
So the height issue didn't become...
No. When I applied, Air Jamaica there was a lull for a long time, a hiring lull for whatever reason, and they 2 years before the year before they hired a group of guys, both male men, about 4 guys, and I had not heard anything about hiring, and I put my application form in, and I got a call because I had gotten my license. I got a call, and I'm like, wow, I got an interview. So I told everybody, and I mean, everybody, there was a barrage of applications then, and I was hired. But you know, before I went to even flying school, after graduating from Ardenne, after leaving Ardenne, my father still wouldn't. I was negotiating for him to pay for it because flying school is expensive. And he said, no, because you're not going to make sense. I said, how about this? I'll go to nursing school and then fly on the side. So that was the bargaining chip to go to flying school. So I went to University of the West Indies Nursing School. And
you're kidding me.
Mind you, I was only there for 1 year, but because you wear a candy stripe uniform, right?
Right, I remember that.
So you're easily identified. And after school would finish at 3:30, I think. And I'd take the bus down to Wings in my uniform, minus the cap, and go fly. Because as a nurse, you had to live at Bastille. I don't know if you know it. You had to live on the hospital campus. And I'd leave every evening. But the girls live in like a cage. I don't know if you know Bastille. It's one entrance with a security guard. And all the nursing lecturers are single women. I kid you not. They're all single women, all from the 50s, 60s. None are married, and they all live on campus. Mrs. Burton, who's the head of the school, after 9 months of me being in nursing school, she said she needed to speak to me, and she had to have a meeting with me. So I went into her office, and she said, Miss Vincent, because they call you Miss, you, nursing, as you know, is not a part-time career. It's a full-time profession. Okay. And I've been told that you've been leaving campus to pursue other things. I'm like, okay. And she says, that will not work. So I looked at her, I said, but Miss Burton is not interfering with nursing school. I go to school full time, and I'm back on campus nowhere else, you know, at night by 8:30 or 9. And that's, you know, that's well within the requirements of nursing school. You know, nursing school was also free, right?
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yes, then. And you're even paid a stipend of $125 per month.
Wow.
And
lots of money back in the day.
yeah, I guess so. And she said, so I said, well, can't I continue? She says, absolutely not. So I said, okay, well, this afternoon you'll get my uniforms. I am leaving. And I left. And I went to school full time at Wings. And when I told my parents, it was like the end of the world.
I can imagine your father was going.
But you know, based on that, you had to make whatever decision I was making to go to Wings. It had to work.
Right.
So I was even more motivated, more driven, more focused.
Absolutely.
Because it had to work.
Why did they want you to be a nurse?
Because that was safer. It was seen as, yeah, that's a very safe career. You know, you
must have work. People always...
Yeah, you'll always be working and stuff like that. While being in aviation, you don't meet the minimum requirements. You're not going to get a job. Air Jamaica only has less than 100 pilots. There's nowhere else to work. You're not an American, or you're not a European. You don't have a passport for anywhere else. What are you going to do? I'm like, it will work, because there are routes that you have to go. Basically, like an instructor, or you work for corporate or whatever. The only corporate jet at the time in Jamaica, corporate flying in Jamaica at the time, was Butch Stewart, Royal, Sandals. That was the only corporate flying in Jamaica at that time.
Was this the beginning at Air Jamaica, this picture of you?
That was my first flight after being let go on the line. Basically, you're under supervision for 6 months, because you go to a ground school, then you're supervised for 100 hours online when you're flying, and then that was my first flight without a supervisor.
Yes. That's F White there on the
yes, FEM, that's right.
Yes, it looks like him.
That's FEM. Yes.
And this is another picture. Are you seeing this other picture?
Yes, we went to a Women's Pilots Association meeting in Washington, D.C. That's Melvina McMaster and I. Okay. She went to fly.
So those are the aviation glasses. That's the look.
Yeah, the ones I wear. Yeah, they call them. No, those aren't aviators. Mine are round. Those are a little bit different. The aviators are a little different shape. Yeah, those aren't aviators though.
And this is you in the cockpit?
Yes, that's me at work.
You look very sedate there, not the sort of...
I know. No, and aviation in Jamaica, it's very conservative. Like at one stage, I wore braids, and they asked me to take it out.
Wow. Because it's a uniform service, eh? Because you're in uniform.
Exactly, yes.
Out of the uniform services.
Yes. You couldn't wear braids. There are just certain hairstyles that were a no-no. So, but you know how it was.
So, CAROLYN Vincent.
Yes,
let me ask you, are you a wild child at heart? At your core? When you consider...
I like having fun. Yes, I like having fun, and I'll do...
Or the wild child thing is a facade for something else. Are you really conservative at your core, or you...
No, I wouldn't say I'm conservative at all. No, absolutely not. No, I mean, but there are certain things that you do, and the way, certain, like when I was at Ardenne had a lot of rules. As you know, your uniform couldn't be above your knee. You couldn't wear a watch with a metal band. It had to be leather or plastic. No earrings. The rules and stuff. No lip gloss and stuff like that. Rules like that. I don't have a problem with rules. I don't really care. If you want me to wear a dress down to my knee, I'm good with it. But when I'm out of your place, I too. So rules, I like rules.
How did Ardenne rules help your life and help to order your life into adulthood and into all that you are today?
The discipline that I faced at Ardenne every single day, what was expected of me, just to even organize my thoughts into, especially going into like personal development classes, what was expected of you. That's where I learned, because them days your parents don't really talk to you about anything personal. So that was, personal development class was a big thing for, I think, for most of us.
Yes, because parents not talking to you about sex and those things.
Exactly. And basically that's the only place you learn about anything about life, that part of life, besides your friends and stuff saying little things and here and there. And there wasn't much literature really to read anywhere at all, and I had older sisters. That wasn't a big deal. They weren't talking to you about that. That wasn't their thing. They were trying to live out their lives too.
Let's talk a little bit about Air Jamaica before we kind of take a quick break.
Yes.
Yes. How long were you there, and what was the experience like?
Okay, I started at Air Jamaica September 4, 1989. I was there for just over 5 years. And while there, I got married the year before, December 94, when I left. Mm-hmm. And so I was married just over a year and a half while at Air Jamaica. And I mean, before we married, we had discussed the discipline, like from Ardenne, spilled over into my married life. Just to plan. While at Ardenne, I basically decided what I wanted and who I wanted to be and what I wanted in life. Like, you know, at Ardenne, I had like a little manifest or something that said, well, okay, by 25, I wanted to be married. I wanted 5 children. I wanted exactly what I wanted. I wanted a minivan. I wanted just some stuff. I mean, I wrote these things down as I went along. And for the most part, I stuck to them. And, you know, there are the teachers like Miss Richie Horton that she instilled, I mean, so discipline in you. And when I said that, like, she was only first to third form, my teacher, but I didn't like literature because of what literature was, because of the reading, but I liked literature because Mrs. Richie Horton had this thing. Whenever she made me read a lot in classes, which still today, I'm thankful to her and Mr. Archer, because Mr. Archer gave me the love of enunciation and spelling. And Miss Richie Horton, she made me read in every single class. And today I still, like, I'm a lecturer at church. And I've been since I've been at Ardenne. So that hasn't changed. I passed that on to my sons, which...
So your sons all have excellent diction.
Yes.
America.
So I'm thankful to Mrs. Richard and Mr. Archer for that. And spelling's a big deal for them too. I mean, they live in America and they recognize spelling here is not a thing. I think you know that too. Very
much so. Okay, so we're talking with the wonderful CAROLYN VINCENT. Just such a phenomenal graduate of Ardenne who has done such great things with her life. And we're counting down to the mother of all Ardenne reunions in Atlanta this July 1921. CAROLYN will be there. I'll be there, and so many other Ardenites will be there. We're going to take a quick break now. I know you have lots of questions to CAROLYN, but in the final segment of our conversation, we'll allow some of the questions and you will ask anything you want.